Hey folks, Chaplain Reese here. If God done it for me, He can do it for you too. Even with a Prius with 280,000 miles on it that is missing. I don't mean lost. I mean multiple cylinder misfires. That is shaking and rattling, giving you all kinds of problems. Right now, really quick, I'm going to give you my 7-step formula on how I got my Prius to quit misfiring. P031 codes, multiple cylinder misfire.
Stay tuned to the end of the video and I will share with you a little tool that has helped me to monitor and fix my 2004 Prius.
The first thing is in the spark plugs, they go down in the holes. The first thing that I had problems with was the number one cylinder or spark plug coil is right behind the oil cap, and when I would pour oil in, I have to put 1 quart of oil in every week. I would miss the hole and it would run back, so it eventually went down into the hole where the spark plug was. That and water gets trapped in there, and it was shorting out the coil and the spark plug. So that's one thing that you have to look out for, is to get all of that dry down in there and make sure that it's not shorting out. The next thing, I took it to 2 major mechanics, talked to a lot of people. Seafoam. Put seafoam in it, put high octane gas in it, and see if that helps. It did not help. The third thing is plugs. You change the plugs out. Take the coils off, 10 millimeter bolt, 10 millimeter socket, and you change the plugs out. Plugs can be bought at your local auto parts store for just as cheap as you can buy on eBay. Number 4, if 3 doesn't work, 4 is the coils. The coils themselves. Coils are very expensive at the parts store. I bought mine off at eBay for I don't know how much, but I changed those out. 10 millimeter bolt that goes down, holds it on, and the plug. Pretty simple. Number 5, took it to the mechanic, and I forgot something. When you take your air filter housing off, down in there's the little butterfly spray carburetor cleaner in there. Open it up on the left and right where the little spring is. Get a toothbrush, clean it out, and wipe it out with a paper towel. Don't leave any of your paper towel in there. After that, I took it to the mechanic with a good computer, and he messed with it, done some things with it, and he said seafoam. He said, go get the seafoam, high octane gas, and he said, just get on there and run it. Run it as hard as you can. Just romp on it and try to blow all that stuff out of the injectors and clean it up. Maybe that will work. He said if it's not that, it's the injector. I've done that multiple times. And guess what happened? I ended up destroying my battery. Yes, I'm talking about the hybrid battery. Now, I'm sitting out there with a battery that does not run right. Actually, you're sitting in here. And I think it's contributed to romping on it so many times, letting off and romping on it. I think that's what messed the battery up. The battery was rebuilt about 1.5 years ago. Maybe not, but that's what I think. I wouldn't recommend doing that. And number 6, finally, I ordered the injectors. It was 4 of them off of eBay for $26. When you buy a brand new, these were rebuilt. When you buy a brand new one from the auto parts store, like $50 something for one. Now, had some trouble with this. One thing that you need to do changing injectors is there's all kinds of trash and oily debris that's around those injectors. I would recommend getting a high-powered air blower and blowing all that stuff out, because when I pulled those injectors off, all that stuff was falling down into those holes.
It could also contribute to not allowing your O-rings to seal properly with trash down in those holes.
Not good. The second thing that I did not do that you should do before you pull the injectors out is, while the vehicle is running, pull the fuse that would be on the right side of the car if you're looking at the motor while it's running, and it stops the flow of the fuel, which would be cutting the fuel pump off. Now, so after I got this done, I put it on there. You unplug them, put them up in the long thing, and put them down in there. It's hard to line up, okay? So be careful, and you want to adjust the line on the right back and forth to get them to line up perfectly. One more thing about the injectors, before you put them in, it said to lube the O-rings with silicone. I didn't have any silicone. I just poured some 530 motor oil on them. Hopefully that works. And I put it on there, started up, took it down the road, still missing and sputtering. I came back, there was fuel that was pouring out from underneath my car. So I damaged one of the O-rings while I was putting it down in there. It was the bottom O-ring. So I got an O-ring off of the old injector and put on there, put it back down, and it was still blowing out of another place. I damaged an O-ring on top. Got another O-ring off an old injector, put it in there. Don't throw your old parts away. Don't throw your old coils away. Don't throw your old injectors away. So I put that on there, put it on, put everything back together, went up the road, came back, no missing, no codes. So it runs good. I've now got a bad battery though. Now, one more thing that I want to add to this is this thing right here is called fixed, and it plugs into the computer port on your car. There's an app on your phone, and you can find out what codes. This isn't as precise as a mechanic shop expensive computer, anything like that, but this has helped me tremendously. Not only that, I've got another code showing like a coolant valve thing that's messed up. I've got it in my car, haven't had time to put it on, but you've got settings on here to where you can check the coolant temperature and make sure it's okay, RPMs, all these things. I would recommend getting one of these. So I hope this video has helped you out some. I've went through a long process. It's taken me weeks to get this done, and now I've got a bad battery. 280,000 miles. The Prius has been a great car. It had about 200,000 on it when I got it, and hopefully it will last me to 300,000. This is Chaplain Reese signing out. Read your Bible and pray every day. Hope this video's helped you. If it has, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share. And today's Thanksgiving, so I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. Here are 3 of the 4 fuel injectors that I replaced. The first thing you do when changing your spark plugs and coils is you take the relay box off. The relay box, it's 2 10mm bolts. After you get it off, you take this air filter housing off, and this is 2 10mm bolts, and then there's a 10mm down right here underneath this thing that is holding it tight onto the intake. There's leaves falling, and then there's right here there's also a 10mm, and then it pulls off. You don't have to take the lid off. After that, what you've got is 10mm holding the coils on here. This is the coil. There's 4 of them. The fourth, this one's the first. The fourth one's all the way at the end. I replace those one at a time because that's what you do with the old school tune-ups and spark plugs. So you take this off, unplug it, and put the spark plug in. Sometimes the spark plug is sort of hard to get out. I put a magnet inside of my deep socket that held onto the spark plug and pulled it out. So that was the first thing that I done when my Toyota was misfiring. And another thing is when you have this off, the intake with the little butterfly is right down there. See where that is? You can get some carburetor cleaner, spray in here where there's the little butterfly that flaps back and forth like this, and you can open it and close it right here. So spray carburetor cleaner in there, get a toothbrush. They've got a whole package at Walmart for $1, and get that toothbrush, open and close this, and get rid of all the black stuff that's in there, and wipe it with a paper towel. Make sure you don't get any paper towel particles inside of that. I forgot to mention, you've got to take this off. Push this button down and wiggle this. Take this off when you take the intake off. That's what I done first. This did not work. So next, I changed the fuel injectors. This was a little bit more difficult. But to change the fuel injectors, you do everything that I just said. And then the fuel injectors are right back down here underneath. I would have taken a video then when I had it off, but there was gas all over my hands. So if you can see right here, this is a plug that's hooked up to the fuel injectors, and the fuel injectors are right behind that. There are two 12mm bolts that is holding this line. Really, the only tools that I used for this was the 3/8 ratchet with a 2 or 3 inch extension and a 10mm socket and 12mm socket. And I used a screwdriver, a big flat tip screwdriver. And when I messed up the O-rings, to get the little O-ring off, I got a needle and I put in between the O-ring and the injector and slipped it off that way.